believe you've got grandchildren now.
Yes.
What do you think it does to you living in what, not just B'Tselem, but other Israeli critics of what you do here, the life you lead, have called a system comparable to apartheid? What is it doing to you?
Well, first of all, it makes me a little bit upset because the system of apartheid in South Africa has nothing to do with the system of security checks and balances that we have here.
You're not addressing what I want to address, which is the corrosive effect, not on the Palestinians, although one can argue about that, the dehumanizing effect it has on them, but the corrosive and dehumanizing effect it may be having on you, living with a system which, for example, and I just quote this as another example, according to the UN's Humanitarian Office, sees 31 kilometers of trenches across the West Bank dug to stop Palestinian vehicle access, 219 dirt mounds put in place by the Israeli army to block entrances and roads around Palestinian villages, 69 locked gates at the entrances to Palestinian villages with the keys held by the Israeli army. Isn't this, the facts of life in the West Bank, corrosive to you personally, your kids, your grandchildren?
I don't think so at all. I think we realize that we're here and that there are people who are fighting us. And the people who are fighting us are getting supervised, or being supervised, or getting punished perhaps because of what they've done. When a rape victim strikes back, you cannot point a microscope at her. You have to see the situation. You have to step back a little bit and say, in 1967, this area was conquered. It was conquered because of a war of aggression launched against us. It was offered back, and in many, many situations, from Madrid through Oslo, Camp David II, etc., we've been trying, and I say we, the Israeli government, to give it back. The Arabs do not want it back. The Arabs want to keep on killing Jews, and they do so whether it's from Qassams, whether it's Hezbollah in the north, or now we have someone whose name I can't even pronounce in Iran, who's threatening to nuke us at all.
Would you describe yourself as a committed believer in the concept of one person, one vote?
Absolutely.
Well, how do you live with yourself, given the reality of the fact Palestinians under Israeli control have no way of expressing their political opinion, no vote?
Because they don't have a state. Because they consistently, as I pointed out just previously, rejected any effort that Israel has made first to set up an autonomy under Menachem Begin's idea and to set up a second state under mistaken Israeli politicians ever since.
So you now face the prospect, because of the demographics of this land, the prospect of a Jewish state which controls more Arabs than it does Jews, where the Arabs will be in the majority.
I don't think that has anything to do with the political reality on the ground.
It has a lot to do with basic concepts of a humane democracy, which Israel claims to be.
You cannot vote for that state. If you want to give them the democratic right to vote, why not, in the temporary fashion, allow them to continue to vote for the Jordanian parliament, which was the ruler here up until 1967? If you want to give them a democratic right just to play around with. If you want to give them a state or some sort of other political entity, let's get serious. Get rid of the terrorists, get rid of Hamas, to a certain extent get rid of about half of Fatah, and let's talk seriously about what democracy, peace, economic advancement, and other elements of what it means to be peaceful and secure in this area.
The problem is, it's not sustainable, is it? It's not sustainable for you to continue to believe that Israel will tolerate the occupation that sees you live in Shiloh. It's not sustainable, and demographics is at the heart of why it's not sustainable.
It is quite sustainable, and it doesn't matter how many times the claim that it's not sustainable is repeated.
The Palestinian population of the occupied territories this year is going to pass 4 million. You add in the Arabs who live in Israel proper, and you already have a population that is almost equal to the number of Jews in Israel.
I think the demographic elements and statistics are very wrong. There's been other studies made that show that the amount of Arabs that call themselves Palestinians rather than Israeli Arabs are much lower. And it doesn't make a difference.
Well, I'm using UN figures, I'm using Palestinian figures.
Allow me
These
to
are
disbelieve
figures
the
accepted
UN.
by the international community.
The international community has made many states. They made many mistakes in 1939 when they didn't go to war against Hitler then, and 6 million Jews paid the price, if you want to talk about demographics. So what the situation is, though, however, is that I think the statistics and data are wrong, and it doesn't make a difference in the long run. What makes a difference, if the two peoples want to make peace, it's peace between peoples. You can create autonomy, you can create states, condominiums, all sorts of arrangements. But if, as I think, the Arab population has not yet come to the realization that we're here to stay anywhere in the land of Israel, whether in Shiloh or Tel Aviv, we're not going to get anywhere very quickly. And that's one of the main problems that we have to face here.
Do you think you in the settler movement may just be reaching a point of overreach, that you are placing demands on the vast majority of Israelis who do not live in the settlements, that those Israelis will no longer continue to accept?
No, I don't think so.
Because Haaretz newspaper claims that since 1967 the Israeli government has poured something like 45 billion shekels into the security, the economy of the settlements in the occupied territories.
We continue to grow. More Israelis from small Israel on the other side of the Green Line continue to join us. There's a constant demographic growth of the Jewish population here. Successive governments have always supported us. The more this government makes mistakes, we can get more popular support. I do not see that, that conclusion coming about. I think it's very mistaken. I think we have a very strong case of Zionist Jewish vision of what it means to be a Jew living in the land of Israel. And I think that we express it very well here in the community of Shiloh and other similar communities.
Yisrael Medad, thank you very much for being on Hard Talk.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.